Stepping into the realm of the supernatural, a group of individuals with unique abilities are on an unprecedented quest to hunt down evil spirits and spice up our screens once more. With a double dose of mythical display of powers, we bet you couldn't wait for what's coming next. Well, we've got you covered with everything we know about the Uncanny Counter Season 3.
We can do it!
The Uncanny Counter Season 3 is set to grace our screens again. The Uncanny Counter emerged in late 2020, captivating audiences with its vibrant setting and alluring characters. The show's initial success owed much to its tightly woven script and dynamic storytelling. However, a highly publicized creative disagreement led to the departure of the original writer, Yo Ji-na, resulting in a less well-received latter part of the first season. Yo Ji-na's absence left fans wondering if we'd ever see a return, but fear not, in swoops Kim Se-bom, the brilliant mind behind the final 3 episodes of the first season, has assumed the role of the main writer for the current season. Now, let's talk about the roller coaster of drama cliches that the show throws at us at a breakneck pace. From real estate shenanigans to organ trafficking, they're all briefly introduced in the early episodes, seemingly in an attempt to check all the boxes and keep everyone engaged. Yet despite their efforts, the lack of coherence between these various elements ends up taking a toll on the story's overall impact. Remember those moments during Jae-bok's intense counter training when Moon exclaimed, "This is making me nostalgic"? It was a subtle nod to the memorable training sequence with Hana. Well, in the Uncanny Counter 2, that familiar sensation returns, but what we truly crave is the original rush of excitement that hit us when those 2 counters first burst onto scene. Fingers crossed, though, that the upcoming episodes manage to recapture the magic and deliver an emotionally satisfying conclusion. If not, we might just find ourselves hoping for the return of Yo Ji-na, the mastermind behind the scenes, to breathe life into a potential new season. The spirits are back, and so are the counters. Season 2 premiere. Get ready for some superhero action-packed excitement as the highly popular K-drama, The Uncanny Counter, has made its much-awaited return this summer for its 2nd season. The original squad of counters is back on duty, and they've got some major TV drama stars joining the mix for some added fun. The goal of this new series is to recapture that delightful blend of action, fantasy, and drama that had the viewers hooked nearly 3 years ago. But there's a catch. As the show steps onto a bigger stage, it seems like something might have been left behind in the process. Now, let's talk about these counters. They're not your average superheroes. These folks face life-threatening accidents, and they were given a choice: stick around on Earth to battle demons using their special powers, or peacefully move on to the afterlife. As the 2nd season kicks off, we're reminded of why we fell in love with the show from the start. The counters dive headfirst into action, taking on a demon who's taken control of a yellow school bus driver. He Dong-won brings a wild, intense energy to the demon's character as he careens through the streets of Jeongjin, the fictional backdrop of the show. With a bunch of terrified kindergartners on board, one by one the counters show up ready to take him down, showcasing their unique powers and the lively bond they share. While they manage to swiftly deal with the nasty spirit, brace yourselves because their lives are about to get a whole lot more complicated. Starting up the scene are a trio of vicious demons. Leading the pack is Hwang Pil-kwang, played by Kang Ki-young from Extraordinary Attorney Woo, joined by the fierce Gelly, Kim Hyora from The Glory, and the mysterious Wong, Kim Young-wook from Kill Heal. These antagonists wipe out their counterparts in China, and just to make things interesting, they decide to gulp down all the powers of their Chinese counterparts before making their grand entrance into Korea. Our counters are all linked with spirits at the Spirits Immigration Office, and with the new spirit joining the mix, the quest for a new counter on Earth goes into higher gear. Oh, and here's the kicker. With Pil-kwang's dangerous crew closing in, the search for fresh recruits becomes an urgent race against time, adding an extra layer of suspense and intrigue to the unfolding saga. Fierce battles between So-moon and Pil-kwang gets nostalgia. Alright, let's dive into the nitty-gritty of the Uncanny Counter Season 2, Episode 4. The action kicks off with So-moon stepping in to save the day, engaging in a face-off against Pil-kwang. But that's not all. He manages to create a window for Me-ok and Jang-mul to make their gateway. Meanwhile, things get intense as Hana and Jak-bong find themselves at a reeds field facing off against Gilly. And oh boy, things get real when Gilly goes on the attack. attack, landing a hit that breaks Se-jeong's nose. Ouch. That punch actually ends up causing a bit of a problem. Se-jeong's power disappears into thin air, leaving him in a bit of a pickle. As if that wasn't enough, Hana's taking some heavy blows from Gilly. The battles on both fronts rage on, and while it seems like the evil spirits might have the upper hand, hold on tight because the tide is about to turn. Now, over on the other side, Wong decides to go after Maeok and Jangmu, but just in the nick of time, Motak steps in to lend a hand. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? Meanwhile, the counters manage to edge out a chance to escape, but Maeok's got some tricks up her sleeve. She summons Wong and brings back the spirit of a counter who lost her powers and life to him. This move finally frees one of the counters, sending her off to Young, while the rest wait for the cavalry to rescue them. As the chaos winds down, Jangmu lays into Somun for risking his neck to save him. The atmosphere in the base takes a turn as the counters finally get a moment to relax, sharing a laugh and some cheers. Little do they know, though, that one of their own is shouldering a heavy burden. Meanwhile, Pilgwang and Gilly, those pesky spirits, aren't taking their defeat lightly. Gilly's all fixated on taking down Hana, while Pilgwang's got his eye out on snatching Somun's powers. And there's more trouble brewing elsewhere. Josok's grappling with an evil spirit he accidentally called upon in his fit of rage. The next day brings a surprise for Somun, a letter from Se-jeong bidding farewell to his life as a counter and making tracks back to his hometown. The team is taken aback and they hatch a plan to head to Se-jeong's place to reel him back in. They try the good cop, bad cop routine, but it turns out the issue's a bit stickier than they thought, especially when they learn about Se-jeong losing his powers. Se-jeong's made up his mind not to return, and the team is left scratching their heads, but they can't bear his absence, so they decide to give Bring Him Back mission another shot. This time, it's Hana and Somun who take the plunge, blissfully unaware that this little excursion won't be a walk in the park. When will the Uncanny Counter Season 3 be released? The first season of the Uncanny Counter premiered on November 28th of 2020, courtesy of OCN Networks. Its popularity led to a second season, released on July 29th, 2023, with the current season comprising 12 episodes, some of which have already aired. Now, let's dive into the juicy stuff. Will there be a third season? Hold on to your popcorn because we don't have any concrete info from the creators yet. They're keeping us in the dark about whether there'll be a season 3. It's like waiting for a surprise twist in the show itself. Usually K-dramas don't venture into second seasons, like, at all. But hey, since we're already in season 2 territory, there's a glimmer of hope. Slim, but yeah, it's there. We're basically hanging tight till season 2 wraps up for sure. If they tie up all the loose ends, we might not get a season 3. On the flip side, if they leave us a cliffhanger, season 3 could be a possibility. Bottom line, the fate of Uncanny Counter is a bit of a mystery right now. We'll just have to wait and see what the creators have in store for us. Will Netflix renew or cancel the Uncanny Counter Season 3? The folks behind the show haven't spilled the beans yet on whether it's getting renewed. Patience is the name of the game here. Expect to twiddle your thumbs for about 3 to 4 months before Netflix drops the official news. Now, the big question mark hanging over the renewal isn't just about a roll of the dice. It's like a complex equation with multiple variables. They'll be taking a peek into how many eyeballs have been glued to the screen, the marathon hours folks have been spent binge watching, and even what the critics are chatting about. All these factors will play into the role of deciding if we'll get another season of the series. So keep watching and let us know what you think in the comment section below. See you in our next video.